Hi everybody, it's Wednesday. Do a quick update, but first of all I want to tell you that I do have COVID. Tested on Monday, just a home test, and showed up pretty strong positive, so I'm home from work. Be honest, I've felt much worse, like when I've had the flu. Don't really have a fever, I've sort of run cool the other way, but I'm sweating a little bit of a cough, a little bit of congestion, but it's really not that bad. I'm just letting it run its course. Of course, not going into work. I don't want to expose anybody else. I'll test again tomorrow, see what my status is. But I had so much time, worked so many over hours in Mexico. Plus, I traveled on 2 weekend days, and I'm just, taking it off and doing a little bit of work from home for the most part, just taking it easy. So let me show you what I've been working on when I feel like it anyhow on the layout. So this is a 1960 aerial photo of the Chillicothe turntable and roundhouse area. Don't want to rehash everything. I've already shown you this. But I wanted, of course, I'm modeling it in about 1980 after most of the roundhouse has been torn down, and I'll show you another picture in just a second. What I wanted to show you was that the vents on the roundhouse, the style that came with Atlas Roundhouse doesn't match these exactly, but looks like when they tore it down, they just left this portion here, and I'll show you in just a second. They removed all the vents except for one in the new sections. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's 1971, quite a difference. Not only has the roundhouse been torn down, but also all these buildings through here have been torn down. So again, I'm modeling this portion here. It looks to me like they put a new roof on the portion back here, and this vent looks like it's still here, but the vents on the rest of them have been taken off. Pretty much shows that they're not keeping locomotives in it anyhow, or doing any work on locomotives in it. Maybe in this one stall, for whatever reason, they left it. Roof looks a little patchy, a little worse for wear, so I'll show you what I did there. I am going to put a representative of this building here at some point, but I need to figure out how I want to do it, what I want to get. Hoping to go to a train show sometime, and maybe just pick up a used building so I can kit bash into that rather than buying a new building. The stalls, where it used to be, you notice where the tracks are is darker. So I don't know if that means like they filled in the inspection pits with different. I would have thought that they would have been a lighter color, and where all the workers walked out here would be oil stained and all that, and would be darker. But this is what I tried to simulate. Also, it looks like there is some stuff being stored here, so I'm going to get like some, I don't know, speeders or just a few little pieces of maintenance away equipment and store on here. Now today, the aerial view, I'll show a picture today, which is kind of depressing. They have track material and stuff stored, but that's more over here. You can't even see this anymore. This is just all completely overgrown. Where the roundhouse was that they tore down, they've got a bunch of track material on. So I'll stick an aerial photo in here of that. So here's a picture off Google Earth today. Obviously this is the roundhouse. Turntable. So the roundhouse, of course, used to go on around to here. This portion of the roundhouse was torn down in the 60s, so it's been, it's going on 60 years since this part's been gone, so it's just completely overgrown. You can't see the concrete pad like you could in the 71 photo. So this portion here, where you can still see it, you almost see the edge of the turntable pit there, is where the 1971 roundhouse was still there, and that's been torn down. It was torn down in the 80s. So they keep track materials there. There's pieces of rail, everything. Over here, you see it says Chessie. Well, you can't see it on here, but it says Chessie System Track Supervisor up here. Let me tilt it back a little bit. Isn't that sort of crazy? Google Earth still says that today. But so this is where the roundhouse was, and this was where the little building that was attached to the roundhouse was. So that hasn't been all overgrown, and they still sort of use it. This is the Norfolk Southern interchange track that now they use to access the big grain elevator down here, which was one of the conditions of abandonment for CSX. CSX had to grant Norfolk Southern access to the grain elevator, and they do use it. They do ship out unit trains. That's a sharp curve here, but they actually pull them through there very slowly occasionally. These two buildings are the shop buildings. This was the transfer table in between them. So I'm going to model those on the other side of the main line against the backdrop, like I'm looking down at it anyhow. Future project, just going to be sort of like a building flat 2 or 3 inches deep, but it'll be looking down this way at it. All right, so let me show you what I've done. So rather than use the Mike Pfeiffer shaky cam, as he likes to call it, because I might really be shaky with the way I'm feeling, I'll just put that in the stationary position here. So again, this is the Atlas Roundhouse. Chillicothe didn't have that thing that comes up and goes down like almost every roundhouse I've seen did. At least it sure doesn't appear to be. So I've already shown you some pictures of how I modified the front. I'll stick one in right here just to remind you. But as far as the roof, I sort of course, I had to piece everything together. Sometimes I think scratch building a roundhouse would be really, really tough with the angles and everything. But I tried to kit bash as much as I could. I covered the roof here. I took some tracing paper, spray painted it gray, like it's like roll roofing, and glued it on top of here. I do have a patch right here. Left one vent in, which I still need to weather. I think I'm going to make it real rusty or something like that. There's not a lot of rooftop detail on this thing. I'm probably going to, like I said, I'm going to get some maintenance away equipment and stuff here, and park on here, some rail, some stuff. This is actually rail, glued down rail. I got some of the Smooth It, the road building system by who's a Woodland Scenics, and I just plastered it all in, and then I sanded, and I carved out the flangeways, and I got some static grass, and I just put glue on the flangeways and static grass, not 100%, but that's the way it was when I remember when I was my visits. And I'll stick another picture in here now to sort of show you. Remember, if you see the front, you can see that it had grass growing up there and everything, because they weren't using it at all at that point. So that's where I'm at. Still have not ordered the 2 left-hand turnouts. I still need to complete the yard. I'm working on it on and off because, you know, I get tired, so I'll just go sit down, take a nap or whatever. But I'm going to be starting to work on the track back here. One thing that's interesting that is all going pretty well, but evidently when I glued the roof on, because I was having to squeeze it, and, you know, I was having to cut these things to fit and all this stuff, somehow it ended up being warped. It was sitting flat till I put the roof on, and once I tried to put it on the layout, it was like doing this. So I glued it down. I weighted it and glued it down, so it's immovable now. But it's flat and level anyhow. We'll put another building out here to sort of represent that one, but instead of being this way, like the real prototype, it's going to come more this way or something. I haven't figured out. It's not going to be as big of a building, but I'll put something there to represent that. So, all right, hope everybody enjoyed this. Better quit rambling and post this before it gets too long. And I will have an operations video switching in Chillicothe this weekend. So Everybody, don't be like Tom. Stay safe.